Danny, big day of announcements at the club yesterday. How important was it to get Armando Dobra tied down to a new deal then?
Yeah, listen, I think Dobbs has been one of our brightest sparks this season. The supporters love him. I think it's always great for the fan base to maintain one of their heroes, and luckily for them this year, they've got quite a few heroes, haven't they, out there on the pitch, which justifies our league position. So Dobbs is a great talent. I think when the gaffer brought him in, it was, as well as the here and now, it's also an investment because he's a good young player who wants to kick on with his career, both domestically and internationally. I know he's got ambitions to play for Albania's first team. So, yeah, we're really pleased. Hopefully he's really pleased. And hopefully, like I always say to him, he can help us keep winning football games. So, yeah, good news for the supporters.
How big do you think his potential is? How good do you think he could be?
Who knows? He's going in the right direction. Like I said to you the other day, he obviously, a big part of him coming here was to play for the manager, and he's learning a lot. He plays the way he gets it, how the manager wants us to play, which is the modern way of playing, like passing, attractive football, but he's got a bit of flair as well. Now, Dobbs will be the first to admit there's loads for him to learn. That's why you're a young player. And that's why you're on player with potential, is because the potential word means that there's room for improvement. Now, if you could be as good as Dobbs and there's room for improvement, wow, you could have a really good career, and that's all what we're hoping. I'm sure he is as well, that he's going to have.
And another player as well who you've managed to secure to a new deal is Raheem Sterling. How pleased are you that that's got over the line as well?
Really pleased for Sheks. He's another one, I think, like all of them, that the supporters have really taken to since he's come in the building. He's a real proper defender, but I think, as you saw from his goal at Watford, our goal at Watford, his assist and his crossing, we still want to get his crossing better in certain areas, but there's the real, I wouldn't call him a rough diamond. I think that's a little bit patronising, but I do think there's room for improvement with him, and he's learning all the time, and he's a hell of a player, especially for this level. So I'm personally, and the rest of the staff, ever so pleased he's committed to us.
He's got some more game time this season. Has there been an improvement in his game? Has he adjusted more to what's being asked of him, do you think?
I think that naturally happens, Liam, doesn't it, when you get some game time. And on the flip side, if you don't play all season and get suddenly thrown in for your first game back this time of year, you're going to be a bit rough. So, yeah, I think the more he plays, the better he'll be. Well, that's the plan with all the players. And hopefully the ones that miss out, when they do come in, don't take too long to get going. He had a real nasty tackle the other night, Sheks. Needed a lot of stitches. So we'll assess him today before you ask whether he's fit, because it was a hell of a gash on his ankle, but it's been sewn up, stitched up fine. We're just seeing how that settles down today and see if he's fit for selection.
Great stuff. And you've also recalled Bailey Clemens and Bailey Hobson from their loans. Why was that?
I think if you look the other night, I think we had one player missing out the bench. We're obviously not pleading poverty. We've got some cracking players, but we're not absolutely overrun with players, which isn't a bad thing. The gaffer's gone for quality over quantity this season, which has certainly worked so far. But they've both been doing really well at their respective clubs, and like I say, it's pointless me giving me the rhetoric of, there are players and we keep an eye on them and we might need them. If it's all rubbish. My words were true. We were looking at the right time to bring them back. There's no point bringing them back if they were going to be nowhere near it. Whether they're either or both are involved or neither, tomorrow we'll wait and see. But it's great to have them, match fit, because they're both fully match fit. Obviously, different sort of scenarios. Bailey Hobson's been in a team really struggling, yet being one of their shining lights. And Bailey Clemens been in a team that's had a good cut run, sort of pushing for the playoffs. So they're both ready to go if called upon. So it's great to have them in the building. Like I always say to you as well, they're two more cracking lads. So you're not bringing anyone back that's going to ruin the dynamics of the dressing room or the good vibe that we've got going at the minute. I think they're pleased to be back, and that's nothing against where they've been. I think they just, all along, they know they're Chesterfield players, and they want to be part of a hopeful success story this season.
Do you think they've both benefited from going out on loan?
100%, even without seeing them put on a Chesterfield shirt upon their return, I would say that. Just because they've been playing every week, they've had the odd training session back here just to dip the toe in back, so they're not forgotten about, which they obviously never would be. and now this is the real important part of the season. Every point matters, whether it's in August or in January, February. But obviously this is where the pressure maybe gets ramped up. So although the points are no more important, you've got to be very mentally strong, and those two lads are certainly, through playing at their respective clubs in a tough league week in, week out, i.e. the National League, they'll be ready to go if called upon, I'm sure.
Some people were just wondering whether they've been recalled because you've had some more injuries that we don't know about. Is that the case, or is it just because of, you've got Crawley and Freckleton now, etc.?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was the right time. I think the gaffer felt it was only really fair to let Bailey play in that game the other night, to maybe give him the chance of playing against Manchester United in the FA Cup. And obviously they're knocked out. It's a no-brainer to get them both back and be part of our push. Obviously, like I said to you, when you send them out on loan, obviously there's some lads you send out on loan because they're not part of your plans, full stop. The thing with the Baileys is that they were part of the plans, just not the initial plans. And like Harley's gone to Kings Lynn. After a while, you have to give those lads the chance to sort of achieve their own game time ambition. And some people's thresholds is further than others. Both Baileys wanted to go and play at that time, and now I think they're both very pleased to be back.
Lawrence Maguire as well, going to be staying at Crawley Town until the end of the season. Is that his time at Chesterfield Run, do you think?
Well, it's a very it'd be very silly for me to say definitely not, because we haven't got him back. He's still out at Crawley, so and especially if it's the end of the season, you say, well, okay, that one's ruled out for this year. Whereas the Baileys, even Harley, the callbacks and that, they come. So that's nothing against Lawrence. He's been a good player for this club over the years, but I think as you can see from our back line, whoever stepped in to fill the void if someone's suspended or injured, we're strong in that area. But Lawrence is a cracking lad, and I really wish him well at Crawley this year.
And Barnet tomorrow then, cracking game against them in the reverse fixture. They probably could have maybe scored a couple of goals in that first half before you ran right in the second half. What are you expecting down there tomorrow? Yeah,
been watching certain things back about them, and there's a lot of things in that first half we weren't pleased with at the time. And looking back, we go, okay, well we haven't done those things since, but we've got to make sure we don't revert to those bad habits we showed in that first half when we go to Barnet, because they've got ambitions of winning the league. They've certainly got ambitions of going up, and we'll go into that game as favourites with the cameras there. And like I said to you a minute ago, we have to deal with that regular pressure, not now and then, that regular pressure of being top of the league where everyone wants to get you and be the team that beats you and pegs you back. We'll know everyone else's scores when we go into the game, and I know for sure Dean and his staff will be setting their set of players up to beat us and cause a shock. We're obviously trying to do the opposite.
I think in the reverse fixture, the gap between yourselves was just 2 points, and I think if Barnet would have won, they would have gone above you that day. So you've really put your foot to the floor and opened up a big gap on them, haven't you, in the last couple of months? Yeah, we have. And I think if you remember the game after that was at Southend away, and we were really poor, weren't we? And Barnet lost, so that would have taken it back to 2. So there's so many little pivotal moments within the season when you look back that can swing in your favour and against your favour. And that's the beauty of football. All you can try and do is win every game, play to the best of your ability, and what will be will be. But you're right, when you look back, it was such a monumentous moment when that final whistle went. A, because we won, but B, because they give us a shock, didn't they, right near the end, and then 4-2 with like a couple of minutes to go when it was 4-0 out of sight. So that's another thing we weren't very pleased about that day. But that's by the by. We won the game. We went 5 points clear, and since then we've increased the gap. But with so many points to play for, we know it's only a bad run away from that gap decreasing once more. And what about the weather down there? Are you in contact with them in regards to whether it's going to be on or not, with your travel plans, etc.? I'd love to say it's always warmer down south, but it isn't. It's cold at the minute down there. So we haven't any contact at the moment. We're travelling down today with all the intentions going to be on, and the focus obviously the game being on. We will monitor it, Liam, throughout the day, and I'm sure there'll be contact from Barnet if God forbid the weather really starts to go into the minuses. At the moment I think we're okay, but we haven't got any sort of psychic powers in terms of the weather, but hopefully it stays warm enough to play, because we're on a good run at the minute, and it's a massive game that we don't want to put back to a Tuesday night. Just finally, in terms of squad news, apart from Crawley, Freckleton, Shackleford, any other bumps, bruises? Frex and Coco will be missing tomorrow. Shex we're going to assess today.
anyone who got a couple of whacks. I think Palms had some stitches on his chin the other night after Barnet, but he's absolutely fine. So light sessioners, as per usual for a Friday, travel down and let's have a right go.